Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be in the world. Welcome along. As usual, got my two earworms or earwigs in the background there, Sid and Jay. So I'll tuck them down the back so they disappear. And it's good to see everybody in. And before we get started, yes, from midnight tonight, we're out of lockdown. So that makes me
Woohoo!
extremely happy. I can assure you. And on the
Well,
23rd, the borders open, which is just in time to go to a wedding in New South Wales, which I'd better attend because I'm the best man there. So, um, good day to everybody. Now I'm going to change cameras in a minute while they're reading out every because I'm walking around the workshop tonight. I've got drills over there, drills down the back there, and other things all spread out. So, okay, go for it, gentlemen.
Okay, we've got Soren in. We've got some bloke called Jay. We've got Tommy's Workshop is in. Philip Clemens. Robert Dolman's in. Darren Callison's in. Ricky's Rocket's in. What have I got? I lost myself there. Robert Dolman. I've got Barry Abberton. James Pritchard. Pat Keefe's in. And I think that's the lot. Sorry if I've missed anyone.
Okay. Tommy's in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think I said Tommy. I hope I did.
Right. This is the base of the lamp that we're going to be making. Sorry. Excuse me. I forgot to make a cup of tea, trying to fix things. Right. This is
yeah,
the base of the lamp that we're making, just a square bit of timber. Now, the first thing I generally do is I cross grain. Now, just tell me if you can't see it, please, Jay or Sid. The simple reason that the monitor is about 20 feet away and I can't see it. So what I do is I drill down through the side grain here so that when it's finished, the hole is at the back and you've still got the grain here because I don't like end grain showing to the front. So whack it in there. Now this, for our English visitors, this is not a drilly. This is a full-blown drill press. Now I'm doing this from a perspective of doing 10 or 15 lamps at a time. So you would normally drill all the bases out now. Change the drill bit. Now I'm drilling the hole that actually holds the stem up from here. Okay. Now normally I would set up a jig so that it sits flat on the table like that, but we have to improvise a bit because I don't want to pull all this apart at the moment, and we just build it up to the same level. That's not right. Whoa,
I was going about to say,
right.
Robert, it looks like your drill bit's wobbling a bit. Darren's just said that's Drilly's dad.
Yeah, this is grandfather. Now we bore this hole right through. Ah, not going down quite far enough. Just need a space under it. Ah, still not there yet. Now, the reason that you drill the side hole first and then that one is that if you drill this side one afterwards, you get breakout inside the hole here. It looks terrible when you go to put the lead and everything through. So that's that part done. And I've got to move cameras around. Now I'm aiming by eye there, so hopefully you can, I'll just check the monitor. Oh yeah, beautiful, right here. Just have to turn the compressor on as well. That'll shut up in a minute. Just give it a minute to build up pressure.
So Darren's getting a new lathe by the looks of it. Havco 46
Oh.
WLA.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, that'll be a nice toy, I suppose. New toy anyway.
Pat saying the camera's listing 5 degrees to port.
How is it now, Pat?
Other way now, starboard.
God, fussy mongrels.
No, that was me.
How'd the Bucks night go last night? How'd the Bucks night go last night,
maybe.
Pat? Yep, go on.
Maybe you should turn your microphone off.
Why?
Did you not just swear?
Well, you said bugger, I think. I don't know whether that counts as swearing.
No, not in Australia, it doesn't. Rightio.
If it's too much trouble, Pat, just stick a little book under one side of your computer.
Yeah, right. Now, Pat, how'd the Bucks night go last night?
He says, drunken sailor.
I wouldn't imagine that. Right, now,
Yeah.
what I'm going to do here is we use all machine timber, and I've got to drill a hole down the middle of it. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. You can actually cut them in half and route a groove down there, which is the way I normally do standard lamps, I must admit, because I don't like joins in standard lamps. Now, there's a couple of different long hole borers, they're called. This is one of them. I hope you can see that in the camera clearly. This is a P&N one, which is just a drill on the end of a shaft. This is a very old Sorby type, which is called a shell auger. It's got a sharpened edge. Is that coming up in the camera all right?
Yep.
Sid? Right.
Yes.
Yep. This is called a shell auger. Now, they're 5/16 ones, and you can also get 3/8. Now, this is, I don't quite know where I got it from. The handle's all faded and everything, but I've had it for probably 35, 40 years. It's just got a sharpened point down here and there, but you can see that the cutting on it isn't very long. The next most important thing that you need for long hole boring is a hollow tailstock, like this, a hollow tail center. and a hollow tail stop. So you can pass the... Yep.
Barry's got a question. Are they single fluted?
Yes. Yeah. They're never... the P&N one is just a drill, basically, but the others are all single fluted. Now, you need a hollow one of those, so that fits up the centre of it. Now, it is important that that is the same diameter as this. And if you ever buy a kit, make sure that it is. Because if you get any wobble in there, you don't start the hole in the centre, and it's likely to break out the side as you go. Long hole boring is an interesting project at the best of times.
Lift it up.
It very rarely.
Lift it up, please, just a little bit. That's it.
That's better.
There.
Yep.
So as it comes through the centre like that, because as I said, long hole boring can be a pain sometimes because you'll come out the side because it follows the grain down the timber. The only way to ensure a proper hole, and you need to be doing 1,000 of them to afford it, is a thing called a gun drill. Now what it's got is a long section like this, the same diameter as that, the whole length, and it's got an air passage down through it, and it actually blows the swarf or the sawdust back down the flute and out and keeps the hole running dead straight. So this is a 3/8 that I'm using. When I get there, just have to wait a minute. I cheat a little bit. Because I use a drill bit of the 3/8 drill bit first to make sure that it gets a solid hole at least 3 or 4 inches down the stem at each end. Now that negates a few things. You don't have to mark the centres on the timber or anything else. One thing about these is if you buy a chuck to go in the drill, if it's got a tang like this on it, you generally have to take it off, because when you fit it in the headstock, it doesn't seat right down. See how it wobbles? So you just cut that tang off there. These are made for drill presses, and that tang actually drives the drill. So, oh, no, it's locked in there now. So lock that in there. Sit that out of the way. Now what I've done is made up a table. It's locked into the lathe there, and I just slide the table and the timber along, or I can just slide the timber along. This is set so that that is exactly on centre, so that I don't have to mark centres or anything else. And we've got no power to the lathe. That's a cool bananas. Okay, just hold on. I've got to get an extension lead from somewhere. Oh! Yeah.
You missed 2 holes being drilled, Anthony, so far, or you're about to see the 3rd one?
Anthony's coming to the room, right?
Okay, good day, Anthony. I find that this is the most accurate way of doing it by using a normal twist drill. It's a lot more rigid than anything else. Just slide the table up to there. Turn it around. All done. Take that centre out. Always make sure you hold on to centres when you knock them out. I get really peeved at clubs where the members don't hold on to the spur drives or the tailstock centres and see how far they can launch them across the room. Doesn't do the points any good or anything else. Rightio. Now, the next thing that we need is a special drive spur. It's got a pin in it like this. So that it fits up the hole to hold it dead center. Everything is worked off this center hole now. If you're doing anything that's got holes in it, always put the holes in it before you start doing anything else so that you can hold them. For the simple reason that holes that are off center look absolutely terrible. So take our table off, sit him down there out of the way, get our tailstock center. Now, in order to make sure that the tailstock center comes in dead center, some of them, these long hole borers come with a rod that is the right size. I just use this one because it happens to come to a point anyway. So you sit this up on here. I'm trying to keep out of the way of the camera a bit so you can see what's going on.
Neil's in.
Fit that in there, and then turn the tailstock. G'day, Neil. Now you run the lathe at around about the 500-600 mark. There's actually a good video on. I'm not going to post any video links, but there's an actual good video from Sorby that shows how to use the long hole borer as well. Start it up. Now always try to keep the flute of this up to the top so that it catches everything. And only go in about an inch or so at a time because otherwise it will get jammed. And trust me, you wouldn't be the first person that's had to cut the bar through to get it out. Can you see the tailstock end all right there or not?
Yep.
Right. Now, by drilling from both ends, I can actually go right through. Whereas normally you do it a half at a time. And then you get your rosary bead and make sure that it actually comes through. If you want it smart, you can actually mark it. It's nearly there. Now what happens sometimes is the sawdust gets packed up in there and won't penetrate. So you've just got to make a few dummy runs to get it out. The newer models of the long hole borer actually have little holes in the tailstock center here so that it ejects out there when you pull it out a bit. Whereas I've got to bring it right the way back through the tailstock. Now the observant ones will notice that I actually give it a little, about a 5 or 10 degree twist. Make sure it penetrates. I think we're nearly there.
Got 20 watching at the moment, Robbo.
Oh, very good. Must be getting close. Yep. This actually is the only part of the job I hate doing. The rest of it's fairly easy. There we go, we're through. Okay. I'll sit this out of the way somewhere. Over here. That'll do. Now just get the airline for a minute. Now, even though I know that hole goes through, never ever put this up towards your face when you blow it out, or turn it off to the side, or put your hand over it. And then check to see if you've got a hole through it. Oh, we have. Phantasmagorical. Now, at this juncture too, I might mention that it is technically illegal in Australia to wire up your own lamps. But I suppose everybody nearly does it. But they're supposed to be done by an electrician. If you do wire them up yourself, at least get them tagged.
Right.
Right. I need this over here.
Barry said he's glad he's watching this. He's just learnt heaps.
Oh, right. Now, change cameras again now. Come on. Whoops. Oh, who's that ugly looking bugger? Rightio. Now we're back on this lathe again. Now you'll notice that I took the drive out of that because I've got his inhalator to do the stem of it. But I'll turn the base first. Now I use a chuck like this. This is an old Technotool chuck. It's the smallest one they make. I just happen to know that it fits over the hole there. But if you don't have anything fancy like that, you can make anything with a wooden mandrel like this that fits over the hole, and then bring your tail stock up with a pad on it and push against it to turn it. If you're only doing one, it is not worth buying a chuck for it. So,
Mark's just come in.
Now, G'day, Mark. How are you? Long time no see. Now, a lot of people complain about these 2-bar chucks, but really you only need 1 bar. If your lathe's got a spindle lock, you can adjust everything from here anyway while the spindle lock's on. Now, the way I start is I start at the back of the thing first, because normally you get a little bit of breakthrough on the where you've drilled through. Make sure you don't undo the chuck when you tighten it up. That's the only problem with Technotool chucks. They tend to come loose when you try to tighten them up. The old 2-bar chucks anyway. Now, I'll just go and turn off the compressor in case it starts up. We don't need it much anymore anyway. Right, make sure everything rotates properly. Start the lathe up.
Right, Darren. Robbo.
Yep.
No? Darren says, naughty, naughty, chuck key, rod out of hand and left in chuck. ... Is there any point?
Happy now, Darren? No, I agree. but I knew that I was just reaching across to get the bit of timber up and pick it up. You notice I didn't put it in there until I'd taken it out before I unlocked the spindle lock. Don't do as I do, do as I say.
I was waiting for that one.
Right, now, hold on, where's my glasses? Now this is the bottom. Just get rid of a bit there. Now I'm going to concave the bottom a little bit. Always make sure it's concave. It sits flat on the table. Now normally I'd sand that all off and everything else, but for the purpose of the exercise I won't tonight. Just check that all the flats, you still got one flat there, so we'll take that out, we turn it round. Come on. No, put it in the other hole, Robbo, it works better. Right. Now, Darren, I have to let it go, all right? Right. Just make sure everything spins freely. Just get rid of this little bit of an edge here for starters. Now, I'll just flatten off this section here because that's where the stem's got to seat in. So I'll make that a little bit concave as well. Just make sure it's flat. I know the base is going to be about 70 mil in diameter, so I'm just guessing it. Now we'll start putting the shape in.
Michael Smith's in.
Go, Michael. Now, the thing with bases is that you can make them any shape you like. I just happen to like an OG shape. Now, to avoid splitting out at the back end, don't go all the way through. I know that this has got a little bit of a flat on it, and I'm going to have to come back the other way. So, we'll just tidy up this a little bit. Now, Tommy, are you still in the chat?
I think he is, yep.
Okay. Yeah, Darren, as I've said before, I'd run an engineering shop I was tied up with a few years ago. Had a bloke leave a chuck key in it, killed the bloke operating on the lathe behind him, and he knocked another bloke into a lathe and injured him too. So never ever leave chuck keys. Chuck keys should never leave your hand.
So yeah, Tommy's still there, Robbo.
Rightio, Tommy. This is what I was trying to show you the other night. A negative rake scraper. Now, I said to tilt it up. You tilted it up that way to cut that way. what I was telling you to do was sit it on the leading edge, which is that edge down there. And just move the rest back a bit so they've got room to move. Tilt it up at 45 degrees. Keep it less than 90 degrees for timber, and just bring it round. Does that make it clear for you, Tommy? And that will get rid of all tear out marks and everything else.
Keith from Circular Wood by Keith in.
Yeah, good day, Circular Wood by Keith. Or you can use a spindle gouge with a traditional grind like that and come across the face.
Tommy.
Come across the face at 45 like so.
Tommy said yes.
Okay, good. I'll clean off the edge of this where I've got a bit of a flat spot.
Ricky's cringing for some reason.
Sorry?
Ricky's cringing for some reason.
Why is that, Rick? Is that Ricky's rocket?
Yep.
No need to cringe. As long as you don't... I take it you're talking about this, are you, Rick? Doing a shear cut with this. With the negative race scraper. So there's about a 30 or 40 second lag between YouTube and here, where I'm reading it from.
Hasn't come up on YouTube yet either, Robbo.
No, that's all right. This lag annoys the hell out of me.
Not sure if he's even listening, Robbo. He's just said hello to someone, so just carry on.
Oh, yeah. All right. Just,
The Chuck Key story. He was.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I've seen so many accidents with chuck keys. That would just happen to be the worst one, that's all. Yeah. I would drill that, and guess what? I've actually turned it back to front. This hole should have been there, not up here on the top. Wait on, I'll get one that I did
prepared
previously.
Earlier.
Yeah, for our English people, so I know what I'm talking about. A repeat a moment. The hole should be down the bottom like this, so it's down towards the base. So, right. Now we can take this out of here now. Just set it over the back, take the chuck out. Just check in there. Now we fit this drive in that I showed before with the pin in here. And we use, this is the only time, one of 3 times I use a cone center. I put a cone center in there so that it can go into the hole of the jigger. To hold it exactly central, like so. Anything with a hole, you need a cone center for. All other work, like normal between center work, I always use a revolving cup center. Now, again, to save cutting the top of this, because it's got the drive spur part in it, normally I would sand that down so that it fits under the light fitting here. So that the light fitting actually hides that. It doesn't do a bad job, but by the time you put it in twice, you've got 8 little squares there unless you hit it dead right. Right, fit this up in here. Now we do some real turning. Lock the centre into the hole and tighten it up. The other time I ever use a cone sander is if I'm doing the bottom of a bowl or something held against the faceplate or something like that, and you need to get down right to the end of it with a very, very thin little bit just that you can pick off so you can finish the base, take the tenon off or finish the base out properly. Right, set this up. Any questions so far?
Well, Darren's commented what lag, because we've got the NBN, so he's having a bit of a sledge at that, which is very warranted, I would have thought.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's bloody terrible when you look like a Chinese film, you know, where the lips are moving. Nothing's coming out except in English. Right. Now, it's much handier if you have a long tool rest because you don't have to keep moving it around all the time. Right, just lift. I've forgotten to do one thing. Just hold on a second, folks. Got to get some washers. To lift it up to the correct height, I'll just fit washers in underneath the pins that I've put in.
Mark, the gentleman wood turner said he likes the tool rest. He's never seen anything like that before.
Tool rests are compatible with all lathes. I can use it, with the exception one, but I can use the same tool rests on all lathes, and I can have any length I want, which makes it very handy sometimes. Lock the pins in. Lock that down, lock that in. These are actually machined that well that I really don't have to lock them in very, very much at all. So, right, make sure everything's clear. Start the lathe up and check the tailstock. Then if you want to, you can put your spindle lock in. I don't bother. Using a spindle roughing gouge, rough it down. Now this is the advantage of having split corners. I know it's got to have a tenon on this end, so get it roughly down the sides there. It's going to have a bit of swell in here. We'll just start doing that now. Now, before I do anything else, I'll do the tenons first. And I'll use the sizing tool, pin gauge, whatever you want to call it. Now, this just happens to be an old router spanner that was close to the right size. So I just got the grinder and just took a size out. And I always do it up towards the thing here rather than right on the end. Because if it's too small, you can fix it. I know this happens to be right. Now, using the parting tool, I just get it out even. And I know that I need to take a light shaving off it to get it exactly right. I just put a chamfer on this end with the parting tool, and then I undercut it from here. So when it sits onto the block, it's going to go all the way around there and not have a high spot in the centre there. Now, as I've said on numerous occasions, we mark out with a skew chisel. Yeah, we'll put it.
Hey, Darren has said that he's watched a video where they've sped it up 3 or 4 times and it's still not as quick as you.
Right, now. Put that into there. Going to put a cove in there. This over here. In a half feed. Just tidy up that corner a little bit. Put the other fillet in down here. Get that neat and sharp in there like that. Work out the top. Come down in here. Now this is important where you make sure you get the hole down the middle. It's also why I drill in with a solid drill from each end. Because if the drill wanders a bit, guess what? It's going to come out through the side. You'll see it as soon as you start cutting it. Put that in there. Take this down a bit in diameter here. Roll a nice little half feed on the top there. Clean up this edge here. And we'll put this. Oh no, I'll make it a bit different this one. All right. Just for the hell of it. Right.
26 in, Robbo.
Spindle that. Oh, very good. Now we've got an uneven cove. See how this one's thinner here than it is up here? Always bring the curve of the cove. Don't put it in the centre. Always bring it up towards the thinner end. It looks a lot more delicate and graceful. So you have a long side down along here and bring it up into there. Right, just do this end here. Just get it nice and tight. Into there. Like I said, I'm going to do this one a bit different just for the hell of it. Like normally I would.
Hey, Rob.
Yep.
Is there any chance that if you want to wear your hat, can you put it on the peak to the back of your head instead of the front? Because that's a lot of all that we can see.
Yeah, wait on. I'll take it off.
Yeah.
Now I don't think the light will reflect too much off my head, but
We'll let you know.
too bad.
It's starting to look like Dickie Knee show.
Sorry about that. Okay. I forget I tend to lean over the loads when I'm working. Right.
Scott, the blue light turner's in.
G'day, Scott. How are you? Okay, now we can take this section out here with a skew chisel or a spindle gouge or the spindle roughing gouge. Now, rather than going straight down there, I like it just to curve in a little bit here and get a bit of a sweep up it. Personal preference, you can do what you like with it, really. Now again, because of the flat corner on the roughing gouge, you can get right into there.
Robbo.
Yes, and
Robert has a question. What do you call
Yep.
the feature just to the right of the right cove?
there. Just there.
Just waiting.
Yes.
Yep. That's just a half bead, that's all. I could look up its correct name. I think it might be an astrogel, I'm not sure.
And yes, Barry, the lag is very bad tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why in the beginning we had a lot of tech issues with sound and everything. We tried for about an hour, half an hour to get to be even able to be talking properly. So, right, now, using the skew chisel, just come in here. So to get a nice even curve all the way down it.
Robert Dolman calls it a quirk.
No, a quirk are these little things here. Quirk or a fillet are those little bits on the edge of a cove. They define the cove. That little bit there, I'll just get a pencil.
So he said not the half bead, we call it a quirk. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, these little bits here, I'll darken them up. They're quirks in there. Quirks or fillets. South Australians call them quirks. The rest of Australia and the rest of the world call them a fillet. Not that there's anything wrong with South Australians, of course. Right. So now, I'm not even going to bother sanding that up, but that's basically, I'll just fix this little bit up here first. It's got a little bit of a flat spot just there, so to blend it in, I just use a spindle roughing gouge and just take the high spot off. That's it. All done.
And Robert says, that's what I mean. So you call the separation a quirk?
Yes. Yeah. Well, you call it a quirk, we call it a fillet. Quirk or fillet is the correct name for it, yes.
We're allowed to be, Darren?
That was quick and easy. Now, the proof of this is in whether it fits in the base. Now, it should be a nice sliding fit, not too tight, not too loose. Another little trick if you're doing these is to actually get a pair of multi-grips. If you're putting any tenon in, get a pair of multi-grips and squeeze them, or a big pair of pliers, and squeeze them a little bit here so that you leave grooves in it, so that the glue stays in there when you push it down. If you have a nice smooth surface there, it just slides the glue up into here and it doesn't hold properly. But if you squish them and leave the little grooves off the teeth of the pliers, it locks it down in there nicely, leaves glue and everything in there. And that's what it looks like when it's all done. I'll just get it up on the other camera so as you can see it. If it decides to change. There we go. Nice, quick, easy little job. Any questions?
Are you able to chuck a finish on it?
Well, wait on, I'll sand it up. Just give me a few.
Putting the pressure
minutes,
on,
all right?
Jay.
Oh, that's all right.
Makes it go a bit longer.
Well, I thought everybody'd be sick of me by now. Right.
Well, I keep coming
Now,
in, Robbo.
normally, if I was on a production, normally I would leave the tool rest here and sand it, but
You
I
have
shall
to
take it out.
turn it around if you want us to see it. Or we can
Mark,
just
sorry?
we can just look at your right ear if you want.
Mark's
No, it's a secret.
laughingly said, now do 100 all identical. He hasn't realised that's probably what you've been doing all week.
I have, yeah.
You could probably show him a picture of them all done.
Well, wait on. What I will do, I'll get it on the other camera. Oh,
There you go,
come on,
Robbo.
number will change.
Tommy said no, we could watch it all day.
Oh. Right.
Hey,
Okay, Mark, just for you. There's some bases out. You can just see
In the plastic bag there.
yeah, they're 10 bases. This is an order for 100, and they've been done in lots. I have to do 10. That's number 70, that lot. And here's all the stems of them. Let's see, make sure I don't disconnect the camera or anything. And over the back there, can you see them in the blue bubble right there?
Yep.
Yeah, there's all the stems, and they're all identical. Will I be a mongrel and pull up loud just to show you?
you go on, you mongrel.
All right. Just hold on a minute.
Mark said, brilliant.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We'll just look at the broom handle.
That's a compressor lead, Jay.
Oh, it's blue, all right. I've got part of it, but it's blue.
Did you realise that you're going to get a bill for this, Mark? Dismantling all the packing. Where can I sit them? So, 1, 2, 3.
Michael's asked, how about a demo on how to make Carburet legs.
Cabriolet.
Did it? Oh, there you go.
Cabriolet legs.
I knew I wasn't going to pronounce that right.
Yeah, I can do that. Not tonight, but
Steve,
because I take a
Temple
bit of
Boys in.
the setting. G'day, Steve. How are you? Just hold
We'll
on. I'll
keep
lift
that
it up a
quiet,
little
Mark.
bit.
We won't say anything.
What's that?
So Mark's sworn us to secrecy. We can't say it.
Oh, look. Just wait on. I've got to change cameras there for a second. Come on. Mark, why do you think I've got adjustable headsets and things that so my swelled head can fit underneath it?
Rubber Dub
All
Woods
right,
in.
hold on. G'day, Rubber Dub.
I think he read it for himself, Mark. We don't want to tell him he'll become impossible.
I'll have a look in a minute.
As it is, the doors to his shed are from a double car garage, and he still can only just get out them. You know.
Mark actually said, Rob, I don't know whether you read it or not. I said, don't tell him I said this, but the man's a genius.
Yeah, I read that bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's just said, go on then, tell him his head will swell. But I figured you'd already read it.
No, as a matter of fact, I tend to get embarrassed when people compliment me. Okay. Now, Sandy.
The diva online doesn't get embarrassed. What's going on?
I get embarrassed. I do get embarrassed. Right. Now, Sandy, we don't slow the load down, we just work. We always fold our sandpaper in half. That's 120, it's a bit coarse. We'll go with 150 to start off with. And generally sand underneath so we can see the shape getting. Plus the other thing is the sawdust tends to go straight down. The sand from the top, you hide it, and the sawdust does get out of the way, but you're sort of hiding yourself. Now, as I've said before, on shapes like this, you always come up from underneath, so you maintain that nice sharp corner on there. From here, up into there. Now, just bear in mind that if you're doing this for older people or kids, you always just dub those corners a little bit. I very rarely sand the fillets because the chisel leaves such a good finish on them, I don't worry about it. The main reason we have to sand is to cut the glaze off the timber so that any finishes that people are putting on will stick. All right, that's 150. 240 is the next one. Same thing, fold it in half, and we always hang on to it. It makes it easier to hang on when it's folded in half.
There's 29 in at the moment, Robbo.
Yeah, that's good.
Got the guys from over the ditch. They must be just getting out of bed now, I reckon. Starting to drop in.
Yeah.
Steve must have went to bed.
320. Now, normally at commercial work, we stop at 150 because any further than that, the polishers can't get a finish on it. because it falls off. If people want to see this finished, so we'll finish it. Right, now 400. Now, another reason for knocking the corners off just a little bit is if you're lacquering anything, the finish will not hold on a sharp corner. So you just need to take just a little bit off, but not to destroy the shape of it.
You'll nearly have suitcases under your eyes, Mark, the way you're going. Not bags.
Yeah, I'm having a bit of trouble sleeping at the moment, yes. Okay. Now you're about to see how we finish things around here.
I've got a sneaking suspicion the spray gun's about to come out.
It's more than a sneaking suspicion, Sid.
What's your philosophy, Robbo? If it doesn't spray, it doesn't stay, or something like that?
No, if it don't come out of a gun, it don't get done.
I knew it was something like that.
We're not in the business of finishing stuff. Just blow the dust out of the way. Oh, we've got a couple of little chips there. Bugger. Now this is NC lacquer. On a good day with a good breeze, that would be dry by now. It's going to take a bit longer in the shed. But you put a dusting coat on first. It's thin, 60-40, 60% lacquer, 40% thinners. And then I'll take it up.
Tommy asked, no colour?
No. If the client wants them covered, they colour it themselves. Not this black duck. Right. Now, it's taking a while to dry because I've got no air through here at the moment. NC lacquers is great stuff. It covers a myriad of sins. You just get a scouring pad now, like a normal thing. We use either brown or green. We're not racially prejudiced there. So you just use a brown or a green scouring pad like this. Cut the first coat back because normally it leaves a little bit of a raised grain, and then you put another 2 or 3 coats on it. Bench tops, we put 5 coats on, or tabletops is 5 coats on the tops of the benches, 3 underneath and around anything. Anything that's going to have a wear area, we put 5 coats on and cut back between each coat. Now, the problem is with a gun, of course, you've got to watch out that you don't spray the pen in here because glue will not stick to this stuff at all once it's set.
Yeah. Neil says, if it's left timber, why not use a decent one?
Sorry. Oh. If it's left timber, why not use it? Sorry, Neil, I can't work that out.
A decent timber, maybe?
I'm just wondering if there's a spelling mistake in there or not.
Has he got too much whiskey in his coffee tonight?
So what was that?
Has he got too much whiskey in his coffee tonight?
No, Neil's like me, he doesn't drink. If it's left timber, why not use a decent one? Sorry, Neil, I can't work that one out.
As in, it's not painted or dyed. Why not use a decent timber rather than pine?
Oh, yeah, well, I quite agree. Like, we've turned them out of blackwood and black butt and iron bark and other things. Yeah, right. Okay, now I'm with you. Now I'm with you, Neil. Sorry. Well, we do them for shops, and they generally paint them after. But the question was asked, would I finish it? And that's the way we finish things. So they paint them. So it's an exercise in futility to use nice timber when it's going to be painted. But if they're prepared to pay for blackwoods and stuff like that, that's got great figure in it, yes, we definitely make them out of it. Doesn't matter what the timber is.
Ricky's question there as well.
Oh, sorry. What Ricky got in? Yeah, right. Yeah, same reason. Morning, Richard. How are you, Mr. Phelan? Yeah. So yeah, no. If we were like, if I was making this for myself, for instance, yes, I'd be using something that's got a little bit of character and stuff to it, like Jarrah or Western Australian silky oak or something that's got a magnificent grain pattern in it, rather than that, and then I'd clear lacquer that. But for the shops, I do them raw. They do what they like with them. Right, any more questions so far? I'm just
Wayne Bigfoot Woodcraft has come in.
Yeah, good day, Wayne. Just wondering if I'll show off or not, actually. I will. Just hold on a minute. I'll be back in a second. I'll just get rid of this spray gun before I pull it over and spill it everywhere. Because Murphy lives in here.
Blue Light Turner's got a question.
Yep, go for it, Scott.
What's it like? What's Jarrah like to turn? He has a piece of Jarrah burl, and he's been told that it's hard and not nice wood to turn.
Jarrah burl comes up absolutely fantastic. Now, sometimes Neil's actually the one to ask about that Dicensai, but sometimes the burls come up better, or burrs as you English people call them, come up far better using a scraper than they do using a gouge or anything on them. Jarrah can be a little bit splintery sometimes, but generally turns all right. No worse than some of the English timbers I've used in some cases. Just hold on a second. Get that out of the way.
Darren,
Move this up here.
Darren has said, has Murphy moved from my shed then? From my place then?
Sorry?
Darren said, has Murphy moved from my place then?
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, don't you believe that Murphy lives there? I'll actually show you his house.
I suspect we're about to get a little masterclass on something here.
Why don't I'll show you the house
House at
where
Murphy
Murphy lives. Yeah. Hold on, I've just got to get it set up. And I'll probably have to zoom in on it. Yes, I will have to zoom in on it.
Oh, I can just see it there, I reckon. Top left of the whiteboard.
Yeah. That's as far as it zooms in.
Just lift up a little bit. There it is.
There's Murphy's place. It's even got it on it. Murphy's place. Now, I know if he's home because this happens.
So Neil's just said Jarrah's actually softer than a lot of other eucalypts.
Yep. The smoke comes out the chimney. So I know he's in there.
Dear.
Put the camera up a little bit more, Robbo. We couldn't see the top of the chimney.
Oh,
Couldn't see the very top of it, that's all.
right. How's that? Yeah, that's better.
That's
Okay.
better, yep.
Sorry, I got my warped sense of humour. Okay.
There you go. Yeah, pay that, Robbo.
Right. Now. Zoom it in a bit. And move it back a little bit. And move it out a little bit. Right.
You're right at the bottom of the picture there, Robbo. That's better. Scott Murphy, as in Murphy's Law, whatever will go wrong, can go wrong, and does go wrong.
Yeah.
Is it after he's had a few drinks, Steve, or after you've had a few drinks? Yeah, Scott, we have Murphy's Law.
Yeah, they've got sod law over there, I think.
Yeah, that's what Scott just said.
Yeah, sod law is Murphy was an optimist.
While you're rolling your eyes and that there, Steve, I reckon me drink never because you gave it up when Gusling came in.
Finial time. Neil said that's not a finial, that's a spear. He wants to see 0.5 thick mat.
You want a bit thinner, do you, Neil? I'll do it with a skew as well. Not sure if I can get into this side. No, I'll need a gad to get into there. Just take this down a bit further. Put the quirk or the fillet in there.
Reuben Woodcraft's in.
G'day, Reuben. Nothing exotic about this timber. It's just a bit of ordinary old pine. Right, round over this edge here.
Neil said that's still 3 mil.
You're getting bloody fussy, Neil.
Barry reckons it looks like a plumb bob.
The quote Kamal from a few years ago about people torn planes.
Oh, look at that. He's got he got some grey hairs there, Robbo.
I know,
Wayne
and a ball
Goodfoot
patch.
Woodcraft reckons 0.5's a bit thick, should be thinner, and then build it up to 0.5 with friction polish.
We got head cam at the moment.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's Neil's fault.
Yeah, all
That's to
right.
hide it in case I break it.
Yeah. All right, we'll blame Neil, all right?
Yeah. Now, I haven't picked any sandpaper or anything, all right, so far. To sand it in. Right. That's as far as it's going now. Now, you'll note my use of miniature tools doing this.
So Darren's come up with, instead of the funnel club, we're into the finial club.
You can say it.
Oh, you mongrel.
Rob, I nearly swore again. And twice tonight.
That is me swearing. Now I normally leave a little tannin on there. Normally I'd measure it out at 3 mil or whatever, but I keep a few finials around actually to try on various things just to see what they look like. So there we are, one finial.
As Steve said, you shouldn't need a sandpaper on a finial turned with a skew, which you didn't.
Hold on. Right. Doodling, showing off. Yeah, well, you take on miniature jobs, Neil, which serves yourself right. I got no sympathy for you. Okay. No, believe it or not, and this really is. Just wait a second.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Well, it's more of a query, if anything. When you drilled out the base that you just finished turning on the lathe tonight,
For the lamp, yeah.
isn't the base that you used to put up to match up with the stand, the tool part that you made? Because I noticed that you drilled the hole in the hole in it was up too high on the one that you turned.
That's what I said. I started from the wrong side.
Yeah.
No, I haven't done a. Maybe I might do that next week. How to make Murphy's place just for the hell of it.
That'd be a good one.
See you later, Barry. Now wait on. You want me to use the narrow one? That's 2 inches across, that one. And I have used it for turning a finial just for the hell of it, because somebody said that you can't do it. Somebody made the statement at a club once that, oh, you've got to have miniature tools to do small work. Now, you're right there, Wayne. Maybe that's what he should have done, was have threaded parts. Now, that would have been good. What do you reckon, Neil? They can do it in steel. They can do it in steel. They do it on model locomotives and things.
Everyone liked the live tonight, Robbo?
Yeah, I'm just reading the comments. Thank you very much, people. I appreciate that.
24 watching and 24 thumbs up's not a bad effort.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Richard, you raise a good point there. I cannot draw to save my life. But put me on a bandsaw or something, or on the lathe, and I'll cut it all out. Yes, Neil, a thread in 0.05 millimetres. I can see him. I can feel what he's saying up there in Queensland right at this moment.
You can't understand it, but you can feel it.
Oh yeah, I know.
He's muttering. You could be in trouble with these borders opening up, Robbo.
It could be. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Robert. No. Neil and I know each other very, very well, as most of you know. And, oh, man, we're just hanging on each other all day. In fact, it'd be an unhappy day if we didn't say something to each other.
So, a query on Murphy's house, Robbo. Are you better off Murphy being home or Murphy being out?
Murphy being out's better. But then I know that he's out in the workshop somewhere, and that's really bad. Thanks, James. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook or not, but Neil got a job that's my normal stuff. They're 400 millimetres in diameter, and got to be fat. I told him it's a piece of cake. Thanks, Darren. Yeah, actually, the rolled edges do take a little bit of getting used to, Steve. They go over evenly instead of sort of 3/4 of the way and then coming down. To answer, I'll answer it for you if you like, Richard Phelan's question. Crown make or import the Colwyn way. I think they make them as well. Oh, you've answered it already, all right. I think I'd have trouble with the Colwyn chisels or the German style of chisels because they actually reduce in width as they go down, so my hands would be all over the place on them. But
I'd imagine they'd be harder to sharpen too, because you have got a square edge.
Well, no, you're just sharpening the cutting edge anyway. It's not a new skew though. No, it's not. The Germans have been using them for probably a couple of 100 years, I'd say.
Came out with the pole lathes.
Yeah. Jay, would you like to put a link up to Tommy's website, please?
Yeah.
No, we haven't got any Leona tonight for some reason. She must have slept in. Either that or the boogeyman got her from this morning. Well, most manufacturers now, I know that Hamlet are putting a rolled edge on the bottoms of their skews with a flat edge on the top. G'day, Rob.
Hey, Robocop.
And Ashley Isles are doing. They make a round edge skew as well.
Well, it's lucky we weren't talking about Leona. She's been watching.
Oh, has she?
Been lurking. How are you, Fiona? Leona, I mean Fiona. Bloody hell.
Well, you'll get shot. She chewed my ear off the other night for calling her.
No, I'm all right. I've got my stickers now. I don't have to worry.
You got your tin underwear on. That's more important.
Well, yeah.
Good. Because you need it.
Ow. That's right. Amy's scratching me. She must know. Yeah, PNN did a round one as well. That's right. Well,
I don't sort of count them anymore because they're not around. But funnily enough, I still preferred the P&N rectangular ones. Hey, Rob, there's a finial for you done. All right, well, there's no more to be said. Time to just about shut it down, I think.
Good quick session. So we're looking at Murphy's house next week, Robbo.
Yeah, I'll do Murphy's place next week, just for the heck of it. Yeah, I think you're right, Tommy. I think Henry Taylor also do one. Yeah, good night, Neil. All right, folks, thank you for coming along. Thank you for the nice words. Hope it's been an enjoyable evening and or morning or afternoon, wherever you happen to be. So to use the phrase from the two Ronnie, it's good night from him, it's good night from me. Good night.
See you all.